Right, so I'm going to be transplanting my Drosera capensis today. Before I do that, I'm going to cut off some of the dead and dying leaves at the bottom. And it's just been in this tiny pot since I've had it, and it's grown about 4 times the size. So I'm going to be moving it into this terracotta pot with a water dish. I just think it'll look a lot nicer. And I'm planning to move it out of the tiny propagator it's in and moving it maybe into the either the big propagator or actually have it on display somewhere in my room. Yeah, so the first thing I'm going to do is go through and cut off some of these dead stems, these dead leaves. Just keep them to one side. I have noticed that there's been a little bit of like fungus or mould around the bottom. There's like a little bit of, I don't know what fungus it is, but it just grows like a little grey carpet kind of. So I'm just removing these just to stop them becoming mouldy. So that one just came straight off. Hopefully this will flower this summer and I'll be able to get some seeds from it. Well, this one's died and it's higher up than the others, that's strange. Yeah, so I'm just going to continue doing a little light pruning on these, and then we're going to transplant it. And I'm going to be using the, in the background, it's the carnivorous plant mix. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with these leaves. I think I'll leave these ones on for now because I can always remove them once they're fully died. Yeah, I'll do that, and that'll be a little bit easier. Just leave them, it'll look a bit tidier. That'll do. So I'm going to put just a layer of potting mix at the bottom of this pot first. Might need to be quite a big layer actually. And then I'll put this in here to see where that kind of level is going to be. Yeah, that'll be fine because the top will fall away a little bit. And once this is wettened, once it's wet, it will go down a little anyway. Right, now for the moment of truth. I'm going to get this dew all over my hands. I feel like I'm paranoid, but I feel like every time it touches my hand it's like stings a little bit, but I'm sure that's just me being paranoid. Right, let's try not to make a mess of this. It'd be interesting to see what the roots are like on this, because it was freshly transplanted when it was gifted to me. Give it a little tap, come on. And it's fairly sandy, so it should come. Oh, I can feel it coming now. There we are. Wow. Right, there we are. So you can see a lot of the roots around the bottom. That's quite interesting. I didn't think the roots would be that big yet. I'm quite surprised that all that sand has just stayed together. That's good. Right, and it's got a nice, let me just bring it up. There's a nice lot of like moss growing at the bottom as well, so I'm hoping that will kind of fill out the pot. And because the pot's quite porous, it will hold on to a lot of water, as it's going to be constantly in a dish of water. And I'm hoping to get some like, it's probably a long shot, but hopefully like get some moss growing on the pot. That would be ideal. This is going to be very tricky. I think I'm going to have to like hold the leaves to one side and then fill in around the edges. That might be the best. Yeah, it's working perfect. It's quite dry, so I'm going to have to water this straight away. There we go. Turn it around. So I do have a lot of seedlings of Drosera capensis in my propagator, but I think I'm going to keep only like one specimen plant, if you like. Just because I've got a lot of other Droseras. I've got a lot of the pygmy, well, all of my other Droseras are pygmy Droseras. I have one that I've grown from seed, which is, it's the giant form Aliciae, I think it's called. Something along those lines. I'm sure anyone that knows anything about Droseras will know which variety I'm talking about. But other than that, oh no, I'm lying, I do have another large one. I've got a filiformis as well. Oh, I've got 2 filiformis. which grow quite big, and then I've got another one which is like a staghorn. I'll have to do a video in the summer, so because there's a couple in my greenhouse at the moment, and obviously it's winter at the moment, so they're not really in leaf yet. So in the summer or the spring, once it gets a lot warmer outside, I'll do a video of all my Droseras and show them all, because I've got the filiformis. I've got about 6 different types of pygmy sundews, which I love. I like the pygmy ones a lot. They're just so intricate and delicate. They're really sweet. There we are. It doesn't really matter that we're covering some of the moss, because the moss will just grow through really quick. And then we're going to give this a good water. There are some seedling Droseras at the bottom here, but I'm not too fussed about those, because like I said, I do have a lot of Drosera seedlings in my propagator. So I'm going to overfill it just a little, because it's such sandy soil, it will sink quite a lot, and it looks quite neat as well. So I just want to make sure it's kind of pushed around the edges. And with this, I'll water it from the bottom. I'll spray the top with my atomizer just to kind of dampen the surface soil, just so it lays out nice and flat, and I can see where it needs more or where it doesn't need more. There we are, that looks really sweet. It doesn't look very centered, but maybe I can just push it a little bit. There we go. And I'll get a little bit more around this side. Right, I've really messed up the leaves, and my hand is covered in the sticky dew, which is getting me really paranoid. Alright, there we are. There we are, that looks really nice. A lot better, hopefully I'll be a bit happier in there. So if I just kind of pat the pot just to get it levelled. I do have a terracotta pot, the water dish, but it's in the garden, so I'm going to have to go out and try and find that. But for now this will do. Yeah, it looks quite sweet. I'm going to trim these. It's probably not a good idea to trim them. It's probably best to just cut them right off, but I'm going to trim them just so it looks a little neater. Because some of the ends have been dying, but the rest seem fairly... Oh, there's a group of them here that are kind of not really doing much. And then it's strange because we've got some lower leaves, which are obviously quite old, and they've kind of not developed fully. Can you see that? I'm not sure. Let me try and bring them in a bit closer. So here, as you can see, it's quite low, which means it's quite old, and it's just not fully developed. Like, so if you take this younger one at the top, which is still developing, you can see it's still opening, and here, for example, this one up here. So it's strange that there's some that are quite old that haven't fully opened. If anyone knows anything about these plants, just let me know, because that'll be very handy. Alright, so I'll probably water it off camera, because that's not exactly something you want to watch. Try and unstick these leaves so they look a little nicer. Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, I'll probably do a video of my Drosera collection, if you like. That might be quite interesting. Let's just brew these up. I don't feed my carnivorous plants. I have fed, like, if I find like a spider in my room, I will try and catch it and feed it to the plants, but I don't have like a schedule where I feed them every week or whatever. I don't know. I've not really looked into it, but they seem to be doing perfectly fine. This one, it's not very dark green at the moment, but I think that's because it's not been getting too much light because it is winter, and this one's not under any artificial light. It's just been on my windowsill. Yeah, so I'm undecided whether I'm going to move this into my propagator that's got a light, but there we are. At least I've potted it up now. So it really surprised me how much the roots had grown. I really wasn't expecting them to have really grown that much. So yeah, looks a lot nicer. Let me just bring you back a little. Pardon the mess. That's just the sand and whatever that is. Right, cool. So I went from this tiny pot to this bigger pot, and the moss should grow through and it'll look really nice. Right, so that was just me transplanting my Drosera capensis. Yeah, and I'll do some updates on my plants in the future. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment if you like the video, and tell me about your Droseras as well. That would be cool. Let me know how old yours are, when you transplant them, and if you've got any tips on anything really, because I'm new to keeping Droseras, so any tips would be great. Get talking down in the comments, that'd be good. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.